Welcome to today's episode of the Hotlapper. I'm very excited because today we have a brand new game. We've got the latest Forza Motorsport. It's just been released today, so we're going to create a brand new leaderboard. We're going to get out on the track with some cars and we're going to just see how the cars handle. We're going to see what's new and we're going to create a new leaderboard. Very exciting stuff. So on today's video we're going to start with a Class D battle, and the two cars I chose was two new cars to Forza Motorsport, at least to my knowledge. There definitely wasn't in Forza Motorsport 7 unless you had to download it through DLC. The first car is the Ford Racing Puma, and the reason I chose this is because it's just simply one of my most favourite cars. When I was younger, this is the car I wanted. It were the flared wheel arches, the 1.7 engine, which was 100cc more than the normal typical Puma engine, and the normal Puma were pretty good, but the Racing Puma just took it even further. It had a limited slip differential. The power was up to 153 horsepower, which was pretty good back in them days, and the handling obviously had the upright suspension, so it was even better than before. And to just kick things off, it came with that Focus RS paint job, that purpley blue sort of colour. So I saw this in Class D, and in this series I kind of just want to keep to classes, so Class D cars can go against Class D cars and so on and so on. So which car did I choose for the Ford Racing Puma to go against? Well, the car I chose was the Toyota Mr2, and the reason for that is also in Forza Motorsport 7 there was no Toyota, so I didn't have the chance to get the MR2 and see how it compared with its mid-engine layout and so on. So I thought today, in Class D, we're going to have the Ford Racing Puma against the Toyota Mr2, and it's the best version of the Toyota Mr2 in my opinion. In real life I had the Mark III, which was considered a hairdresser's car, but it was still very good, but visually at least, the Mark II is where it's at. Toyota sort of took cues off the Ferrari 355. It wanted to look as beautiful as that. It had the flip-up headlights, it was a two-seater, engine in the back, it just had all the right things going for it. These two cars are two of my favourite 90s cars, and I just thought in the same class. They're new models, so they look great, because if you haven't heard, this new Forza Motorsport, it's using old assets from other games, and they you can tell. But these two cars, for the moment, they look spot on, and I just want to see how they compare, and that's what this show's all about, comparing cars. So let's go. And here is a new Forza Motorsport, a new beginning for the YouTube channel, because we're going to be doing all the laps from here on out on this new Forza Motorsport. So there's a new leaderboard, and this is going to be the first time posted. So we're starting with Class D, and we're going to move as way up as we progress. Obviously with Class D cars, they're going to be less powered, they're not going to be as performance orientated as something in Class S like a Ferrari, but for me, growing up, this car, I loved it. Like I described it, it was like a first for a lot of things, like having an LSD, and it was just, I think this come before the Fiesta ST. Ford had decided they were going to get a bit more sporty with the offerings, and that's exactly what it is. It's just a sporty little drive. It handles nice, it's got decent amount of power, but it was understeer, and I'm not used to the new physics yet, so it could just be that. But it was pleasant enough, it was fast enough. So the question is the Ford Puma fast enough to take down this MR2? The MR2, it's mid-engined, it's rear-wheel drive, so already it seems more sporty. It's also got 90 brake horsepower more, so really it should be quicker as well. But the MR2 is a tiny little bit older. Driving it, I think the gears, by comparison to modern cars, the gearing's a bit too long. It felt like if it had shorter gears it might be able to just push a little bit harder, but it does have a turbo as well, so it does have torque, and it was able to push through them longer gears. It's a nice car to drive. It just doesn't feel as sporty as what MR2 would have been today if it had to be redesigned, if that makes any sense. So I set a fast lap in both of them, and we're going to go over to the leaderboard now to see which one came out on top, which one is the quicker Class D car. And here's the new leaderboard. It looks like a bit of a box, and here's the very first time posted on the new Forza Motorsport. The Toyota Mr2 did come out on top. It got a 1:03, and the Ford Racing Puma got a 1:05.2. So The Toyota MR2 is the fastest car on the leaderboard. Let's go race the Class C cars. Now for the Class C cars, we've got another interesting battle. The first car is the Subaru BRZ. It's basically the Toyota GR86. They kind of did a deal with Subaru and Toyota. We didn't get the Subaru in the UK, but it's still there in America. It's got a 2.4 boxer engine. And it's got no turbo, it's just kicking out about 230 horsepower, and it's a really well balanced car. I love the look of it. I think it's a really nice looking car, and it was designed primarily as a fun car to drive. So it pivots, the back end will come loose, but it does so in a very controllable way. It's a very nice car. The second car is this Renault Megane. It's the Renault Sport model. So obviously it's going to be quick. It's actually got about 50 brake horsepower more than the Subaru. It's got a 1.8 litre turbocharged engine, and it also has rear wheel steering at the back. The rear wheels actually turn to aid it in the corners, so it is kind of a cornering monster, especially when compared to other front wheel drive cars. So it's interesting. We do have front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive, and we've also got that 50 brake horsepower difference, but the Renault Sport Megane is front wheel drive, which can be a bit of a performance hindrance in traditional thinking anyway. So firstly, let's take out the Subaru BRZ, and like I said before, it's got a naturally aspirated 2.4 boxer engine, and it's a dream to drive straight away. It's balanced. When you go through the corners, it's smooth, and you can provoke the back end to come out with throttle. You can provoke the back end to come out via the braking phase, and entering the corner, clipping the apex, and then going to corner exit. It's just a smooth process, and you can control the tempo of the car just through the throttle pedal. It's actually really enjoyable. And the one thing I do like about this new Forza Motorsport is, no matter how good the physics are on a computer game or simulator, if it's done right, you can actually get that feeling, and that feeling of driving pleasure like what you get from a real car. If a car is a true driver's car and it's built to deliver fun and driving enjoyment, then you should be able to feel it through the simulator in the same way as the real car, because it's a simulator, and with this car you do. In Forza Motorsport 7 you didn't really get that enjoyment when a car just worked, but here on this new Forza Motorsport I am getting that. So it's positive for the car, it's positive for the game, and yeah, the car only has 240 brake horsepower, but when you come to rear wheel engined cars, especially FR cars where the engine's in the front, it's you can get the car can be a lot quicker than what the specs suggest, as long as it's been set up right, and that's what we've got with the BRZ. I'm real pleased with this car, and I'm looking forward to what the Renault Sport Megane can bring and how it's going to fight back. So how exactly can the Renault Sport Megane fight back? Well, for one, it's a Renault Sport, and all Renault Sport vehicles are fast. It may be a front wheel drive car, but Renault Sport make the best of a front wheel drive car. Also, like I said, it's got rear wheel drive steering, so that helps the back end follow it around the corner. It'll help it go around tight turns. So whatever downfall you think it might have as a front wheel drive car, Renault Sport's there to say, hold on a second, no, we're going to go as quick as any other car. And they tend to do. Also, comparing it against the Subaru, it's got about 50 brake horsepower more, which is quite a huge advantage. So really, what we're coming down to today is, can the Subaru match the Renault Sport Megane through its balanced FR setup, its rear wheel drive? Is it going to basically be able to outdrive the Renault Sport, or can the Renault Sport just outpower it, outmaneuver it, and show the rear wheel sport cars just what a front wheel drive car can do? Now let's return to the leaderboard and see what the Renault Megane did. And it did a 1 minute 1.4, but it was beaten by the Subaru, which did a 1 minute 0.2, so the Subaru was 1.2 seconds quicker. I didn't think it was going to be that much quicker, to be fair. I thought it was going to be more equal, and I did even think the Megane, with it having more power, would best the Subaru, but there you go, you just don't know what's going to happen until you take it out on track and give it a go. But the Subaru was so smooth, it was so easy to flow through the corners, and then if it was a left-right, it could just get to where it needed to be so you could get the power on super quick. And it was just the better driver's car in the end, but the Renault Sport is a good front-wheel drive car, no doubt about it. So yeah, that is the first episode of the Hotlapper, which is running the new Forza Motorsport game. And the next episode, I'm hoping to bring out the next episode this week. It's going to have the Class B and the Class A cars, and then the episode after that will have the Class S cars, and maybe might be Class R. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we are going to go through a load of cars and see how they all compare and what the differences are, and see what times you can post on the leaderboard. So until next time, if you enjoyed the episode, please do give us a like, a subscribe, but even better. I'm collecting all the subscribers I can get, so if you want to be one of them, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, thanks a lot. Bye bye.